The oppressive blanket of the London blackout was a physical weight, pressing down on the city as much as the fear of the impending German bombs. For Sarah Jenkins, an American intelligence analyst attached to a top-secret unit, the darkness was both a necessity and a torment. Every shard of light extinguished, every window draped, amplified the city's vulnerability. It was late 1943, and the Blitz, though not as relentless as its peak, still clawed at the city's nerves. Sarah's mission was usually confined to the hushed, secure rooms beneath Whitehall, where codes were broken and intelligence was painstakingly pieced together. But tonight, a critical, hastily arranged rendezvous demanded she brave the streets, carrying a satchel heavy with decoded messages that hinted at a deeper, more complicated game being played even among the Allied powers. The whispers of suspicion between Washington and Moscow were as cold and sharp as the winter wind. Suddenly, the night sky ripped open, not by stars, but by the blinding flashes of anti-aircraft fire, followed by the sickening whine of descending bombs. The distant, rumbling thuds quickly grew into earth-shattering roars. Sarah, caught in the open street, instinctively veered towards the nearest public shelter, a known underground station entrance, its signs barely visible in the gloom. She stumbled down the steps, the noise of the raid amplifying with every descent. The air in the shelter was thick with the scent of damp earth, stale humanity, and pervasive fear. Faces, pale and drawn, turned towards the entrance as she squeezed past, looking for a spot. Her eyes, adjusting to the dim, single bulb, landed on a figure hunched in a secluded corner. It was Nikolai Volkov, a Soviet liaison officer she'd only seen in formal diplomatic settings, a man whose reputation for inscrutability preceded him. He was a shadow within the shadows, his eyes, when they met hers for a fleeting second, betraying nothing but a deep-seated watchfulness. Their governments were allies against Hitler, but the ideological chasm between them was vast, filled with unspoken suspicions and covert operations that mirrored the very war they fought. Another deafening explosion rocked the station. The lights flickered and died. A collective gasp, then a wave of terrified cries. The shelter groaned, dust raining from the ceiling. A section of the tunnel further down collapsed with a terrifying roar, severing the path to the main platform. The single entrance they had used was now blocked by a shower of concrete and debris. They were trapped. Panic rippled through the small group. Amongst them was Mrs. Davies, a frail but resilient woman, clutching a worn handbag, her quiet strength a stark contrast to the burgeoning chaos. "We must stay calm," she murmured, her voice a thin thread against the echoing silence of the trapped space. Sarah immediately sprang into action, her intelligence training kicking in. "Is anyone hurt? Can we assess the damage?" she called out, her American accent cutting through the London quiet. Nikolai, still silent, was already on his feet, systematically testing the collapsed section with his foot, his movements precise and deliberate. "The main line is gone," he stated in surprisingly clear, if heavily accented, English. "And the entrance above, it sounds like a direct hit. We are isolated." The grim reality settled in. No lights, no clear way out, and the lingering threat of further collapses. Sarah pulled out a small, military-issue flashlight, its beam weak but vital. She began methodically checking for injuries, her medical skills from pre-war nursing kicking in. Nikolai, after his initial assessment, began organizing the able-bodied few to clear manageable debris, his commands curt but effective. We need to find a way to signal, Sarah said, sweeping her light over the rough walls. Or another passage. This station was never designed for deep shelters, Mrs. Davies interjected, her voice steadier now. Only temporary refuge. As they worked, the unspoken tension between Sarah and Nikolai remained a taut thread. When their hands brushed while passing a piece of broken timber, a jolt of awareness, almost like static electricity, passed between them. They were both soldiers, of a sort, from opposing ideological armies, yet here they were, reduced to the simplest human imperative: survival. Your government. They are always so secretive, Sarah remarked, the words slipping out before she could catch them, reflecting a common Allied frustration with Soviet opacity. Nikolai paused, his gaze sharp in the weak light. And yours, always so open with the world, yet so closed when it matters most. He gestured vaguely, perhaps referencing the delay in opening a second front, a sore point with the Soviets. The shared danger had not erased the ingrained mistrust. Hours later, tired and covered in dust, they unearthed a heavy, rusted hatch, hidden beneath a pile of rubble. It was a maintenance access, narrow and foreboding. Nikolai, with his brute strength, managed to pry it open, revealing a cramped, vertical shaft leading deeper into the earth. It was a gamble. It could lead to another collapse, or simply nowhere. We go down, Nikolai decided, a flicker of grim determination in his eyes. It is the only way now. Sarah hesitated, then nodded. After you, she said, a hint of reluctant respect in her tone. As they descended, one by one, Mrs. Davies was the last to go down, her elderly frame struggling. Nikolai reached up, offering a steadying hand. You are brave, old woman, he said. And for the first time, Sarah saw something akin to warmth in his usually unyielding eyes. It was a fleeting glimpse of the man beneath the uniform and the ideology. They emerged, battered but alive, into a deserted sublevel of the vast London underground network. From there, they found a disused emergency exit that opened onto a quiet, bombed-out street as the first slivers of dawn painted the sky a bruised purple. The world above ground was a mess of rubble, dust, and the acrid smell of burnt timber, but they were out. As emergency services converged, directing survivors, Sarah and Nikolai found themselves standing side by side, two stark figures in the gray light. Their paths would diverge again. Their nations would continue their silent, ideological battle, even as they fought a common enemy. But for a few terrifying hours beneath the blackout sky, an American and a Russian had been simply two human beings struggling together for survival. The echoes of the bombs would fade, but the echo of that shared night of desperation, reluctant cooperation, and a fragile, unexpected thread of humanity would linger in the silence between them, a quiet testament to the lines that could blur, even if only for a moment, in the darkest of times.